Okay, so I've got this fairly generic space I'm just going to use to demonstrate the Stair Tool in Revit. And so of course on the Architecture tab, and you'll see there you've got railing, ramp and stair all grouped together. And that's because they're all related tools. You can see they're grouped in this circulation panel. And essentially once you know the Stair Tool, you should be able to use the ramp tool pretty comfortably as well. They're very similar tools. And then both of those things will give you railings automatically when you create them. Both ramps and stairs automatically have railings attached. But I'll start with the Stair Tool. So as soon as you click on that, you can see it's a bit like making a floor or a roof or a ceiling. It takes you into sketch mode where you've got the tick and the cross. So before you even start doing anything, if you don't want to be there, you can just hit the cross to cancel, like any of those other tools, and it just gets you out of there so you can do other things. But I'll go back and make a new stair, and then apart from those two options to cancel or confirm, to the right of that you can see it's got this selection on run, and that's basically an automatic flight of stairs. So then to the right you've got the basic configurations. I think I might have touched on these before. Do you remember me telling you that there are some that you probably should avoid at first? There are two there. I can just tell by looking at them that they're wrong. But you maybe, I think I did show this before, but maybe you don't remember. So the ones at the end, the L-shaped and the U-shaped, if you look at those closely, and I'll just click on it so you can see it a bit larger, can you see something that's not right about that stair? What's the problem with that stair? Would you ever want to build a stair like that? Exactly, the angled treads, that's right. That's not correct. For an L-shaped stair, you don't want the winder to start at the beginning. And that's what's happening there. So that means you can just avoid those tools. So the L-shape and the U-shape at the end, don't use those. But the rest, the other three at the beginning, they're all good. So we've got straight, full step spiral and the curved or centre end spiral. So starting with the straight stair, I'm just going to click. So you can see then, if I just click anywhere to place my first step, and then move the cursor as far as it can go, in other words, take it out so that I've got all of the treads it's going to give me. Even if I take it beyond that point, it won't give me any more treads. So I'll click to finish it, and it's going to give me, what, 24 rises. So how does it know to give me 24 rises? Where do you think it picks that up? So, yeah, pretty much the ceiling or the levels. So remember, the levels in a Revit project set your heights. And so I've already created levels for my next story. And so if I look in the section view there, you can see my next story is level 1. And so then it just divides up the height between those levels. And if you look at your stair properties, you'll see it already knows what the maximum riser height should be. And that's one you might have had to look up already, because I know you got told in the tiny house that you could go above that and do 250 risers, I think. So you were told that. But you all know, I'm sure, that the maximum riser normally is 190. So what do you think you'd do? Before Revit came along, what do you think people did to work out the height of their risers? So? Yeah, not really. Well, kind of a formula. It's a pretty simple formula, though. So you're thinking about 2r plus g. Is that the formula you're thinking of? Yeah, so that's to work out the going relationship. That's an extra thing that you should check after this. But before you even get to that stage, you just want to work out the riser height. And the riser height is simply 190 divided by the height between your levels. So this is how people would have done it before computers even came along. And it's still the way most people would do it, probably, because most people still aren't using software like this. And, okay, so if we just open up a calculator. Okay, so then the height between our levels is 4485 divided by 190 gives us 23.6. We can't have 0.6 at a step, of course, so we round that up to 24. Okay, so Revit works all of that out for you, but you still need to be able to check that yourself. So, do you think that'd be okay as a stair? It's 190, it's less than 190 riser, so that complies, so why wouldn't it comply then? I'll give you a tip, it doesn't comply, so why is it still not okay? The riser height's okay, the tread's okay, the tread's 250. Exactly. You can only have 18 stairs in a landing, in a flight, before you need a landing. So that's good, yep, that's exactly right. So I'll finish this stair and just leave it there. Revit doesn't check to count your risers. You have to do that yourself. So I'll go and make a new stair next to it. And all I'm going to do here differently, leaving it on the straight option there, I'm just going to click the start point similar to what I did before, and then come across and count. So I'll just do that a bit higher. So I'm going to come across and count. It's a bit hard to read, but that grey text just underneath the stair drawing tells me the count. And actually I can read that on the projector. 11, yeah. So we can go to 18, but because we've got 24, maybe we'll just split it up and do 12 and 12. So I'm going to click there at the end of that 12th thread, and then come across and click a new start point, and then take that as far as it can go, and then it'll automatically put a riser landing in for me. So tick's finished, and back into my section view. We've got the other stair behind it with a landing, but the structure isn't done for us. Sometimes the stringers or the structure of the stair, they don't always work perfectly on landings. So again, that's something that you need to be able to work out and understand so that you can then model that yourself. We'll come back to that. I want to go through the modelling tools with you later as well, but for now, I'll just go back and make some more stairs using the same approach. And the best way of getting familiar with the Stair Tool is just to experiment with those basic options that you've got. So again, still on that straight Stair Tool. And this time I'll click a point over here to start a new stair, and maybe I'll just take it so far. And then I'll click another point to start a new flight, but this time I'm going to go down. And then you can see automatically it'll put in an L-shaped landing. So it works all of that out for you, which is pretty handy. You can, of course, modify and create your own landings. Okay, so there's my other stairing section. Okay, so you can see all of these stairs. I might just show you in a 3D view. Okay, so I've modified this stair a little bit so that it's got what's called a centre stringer, and you won't have that. So I'm just going to change them back to the one that you will have, which is this 190 max riser 250mm going, and that'll put it back to the housed or the stairs that have the stringers. So then you can see it actually does a better job with the landing when you've got the stringers on the side. But I know there's another stair that a lot of you would be thinking about, maybe doing a concrete stair. So when you select any stair, you've got the assembled options, which are basically either timber or steel, and they're all framed in a similar way. They have a stringer. And actually, do you know what I'm talking about when I say stringers and some of those other stair components? Have you dealt with stringers before in your other work? No? Yes, you know what a stringer is? A stringer? Yeah, yeah, what about if it's not a centre stringer? So this one here. So that one, is that still a stringer? If it's on the side? Really? It is, yeah. They're all stringers. So if it's a thing that supports your stairs, basically you can think of it as a stringer. Especially if it's on the side, actually. If it's on the side, that's normally when people would always refer to it as a stringer. And in timber stairs, that can actually be made on site. So I've done plenty of designs for houses where I've gone down on site with the carpenters as they've made these on site, following my drawings, and then I've had to, add to them. And so that's with stringers on the side. But I'm going to change this now to one of the monolithic stairs, or to the under cast in place. We've just got that one monolithic stair. And that gives you a concrete stair, essentially, which has the stringer and all of the structure incorporated into that one mass element. So they're a bit different. So going back to the plan, I'll just do a couple of other examples of stairs. So again, with the stair tool, you've got straight stairs, and then the next one across is full step spiral. So I'll do one here, but then you'll see why it can be a problem. Any of you been to some of the hotels in Paris where they still have spiral stairs that go up, 5 or 6 metres? And that's what this is going to be. I haven't seen any of these in Australia, actually. I used to have some, but can't find any anymore. There's a reason for that. Okay, so that's what you'll get with these nice full step spiral stairs. Let's change it back to the housed one. Well, in fact, I'll go to the centre one because that's a bit nicer. Okay, so any reason why you can see that's a problem now in Australia, to do a stair like that? Why don't you see them anymore in Australia? It's the same as what you said before. Yeah, exactly, it is. Because you need a landing every 18 steps. How do you get a landing into a stair like that? Pretty much impossible. So, yeah, because of that 18, yeah. No, they're not a control people, they're, yeah. So we can't do those beautiful DNA stairs and all those things that you see. Mark Newson designs, the Australian Designer of the Year, designs them for all the other places overseas. We can't do them. No. Yeah. They do let you do, so it's not 18 with a spiral. I think you can do 20 something. It's in the BCA, we should look it up. Okay, so, and this is a good habit. If you're not doing this, you need to start looking up things, controls like this in the BCA as you require them. And I know it can seem a bit intimidating at first going through the BCA. There's a lot in there. But the more you practice it, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And so I'm just going to go and find the controls for you. So it's in section D. And then it's under provision for escape, I'm pretty sure. And this is the section on stairs, I think. One of these. Or is it in construction? It's one of those. Oh yeah, it is. That's the one. So this has all of the controls for stairs. You've got the riser heights in there, and even some diagrams, and it should then tell us how many stairs you need before a landing. Right, but that's in volume 1, which is actually the right one for this type of building. It's class 2. So I'm going to go to volume 2. Basically, it's got more pictures, and in volume 2, it's in section 3, and in safe movement and access, which is here 3.9, and stairway and construction. So there we are. So you can see for spiral stairs, the risers can be higher. They can be 220 instead of 190. And then I've got a feeling that the number of steps is a bit different. Oh no, doesn't say anything about spirals. Here we are, 18 steps. Yeah, I think it is for all stairs. Yeah. But you can at least go to 220. Still, that just wouldn't be possible. If we're going 4 metres or so with the spiral, it's really not going to be an option. So? Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like 18 for all stairs, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay, so if I go to level 1 though, and then I'll make another stair. So back to the stair tool, and then just still on that full step spiral. So I'll do one here. So it's only got 22 rises, but that's still too many. So to give you a tip there, if you make a stair and then you want to redo it, or you want to have one with a different number of rises, for example, you can modify these, and you can use those grips there to stretch them and change the riser count. So using that circular grip there and also the arrow. The arrow actually takes stairs off the top and adds them to the bottom, whereas the circle just takes them off. Those two things work a bit differently. So I'll take it back to 18, which is our maximum. And then I'm going to see if I go and click Edit Type. First, I'm going to duplicate, and I'll call this Open Stringer Spiral. And then I'm going to increase that riser height from 190 to 220. Okay, so that would be allowed, because now you can see the riser height isn't 220. If you look at it, it's 216. So let's have a look in section and see. Oh no, it's still not quite enough. I need one more step. Almost there. But that's the basic idea anyway. When you're working with stairs, you need to be able to set and know how that riser height's being calculated. So here really the only way would be to have a landing or something at some point in that stair. And so I'll just go back and do that last option with the stair tool. So again, out of those 3 options at the beginning, you've got straight, full step spiral, and then you've got the centre end spiral. And so with that one, again, just like the spiral, you click the centre first, bring it out and click the start point, and then come around to choose how many steps you want. And yeah, so it's 19 that it's giving you, which is one too many, but I'll just leave it on that for now, finish it, and you can see it's not that different to the other spiral stair tool. So really, you only need to use that full step spiral when you want those spiral stairs that have a post in the middle, or when they need to go on top of themselves, which is really difficult to achieve now in Australia anyway, because of the building controls. So the last thing I'll say there, when you're using these automatic options, you've got the option as well on the options bar there to draw from the left, centre or the right. Don't worry about using the exterior supports options, just left, centre or right. So if I want to draw alongside a wall, maybe I'll find one over here. Okay, so I'm going to set that run option to run right, and then I can draw by snapping onto the edge of that wall, and you can see there my stair goes to the left of that because I'm drawing along the right hand side, and then I can continue along and draw along this wall, and again come along to the left or along the left side. And it's pretty good the way that it numbers those levels for you, and also the tread count, and so if I select that one at the top, again, just notice the difference between the way these arrows work, or these grips work. If I use the one that has the arrow, you can see as I reduce the number in that flight at the top, it adds them to the flight at the bottom. Same if I go the other way and add them to the flight at the top, it takes them off the flight at the bottom. And then if I use the circle, it just reduces the total number of steps. So they're both, have their own use. And again, if you look in section, we can see that the last step, a bit hard to see there because I've got a ceiling in the way, so I'll just select it so that you can see the last step is exactly one riser below the floor. So again, with Revit, you've got to fill that gap in yourself if you want to have that filled in. There are ways of getting the Stair Tool to do it, but often it's easier just to model that yourself if you're going to worry about that level of detail. I'm not going to show you how to do that right away, but just so you know for the future, you can use model in place to get the modelling tools. And that's really what I want to get into next. So I'll just very quickly show you, when you click on that down arrow under component, go to model in place. Don't worry about the categories for now, I'm just going to choose generic models. But if you're wondering where all of the general modelling tools are, that's where you find them: extrude, blend, revolve, sweep, and all those things you might be familiar with from other programs. So that's how you can add components and different parts to your stairs and other things. So there was one final thing I wanted to look at with the Stair Tool though. So just coming back to the ground floor. So imagine if you want to make a stair that isn't one of these standard shapes. Have any of you come across the option that you need to use for that? If you want to make a custom shaped stair? Okay, I'll just show you. So when you're using the Stair Tool, so you've got those basic configurations, and again, the first three: straight, spiral, and center end spiral. Forget the other two, L-shaped and U-shaped. You won't need to use those. But then below that, you've got create sketch. Then you can draw pretty much any shape you want. So if I do the boundaries first, and I'll just do an outside shape, and maybe I'll make part of it curved. Okay, we'll just offset those lines. So the green lines are the boundary. Maybe I'll have this widening out at the bottom. Will do. And maybe even tapering at the top, something like that. Okay, so that's the shape of the overall stair path that I want. And then I'm going to draw the next thing, which is the risers. So you've got there the boundary tool at the top, gives you the green lines, and then the riser below that will give you black lines. So the risers need to go inside your boundaries. And then just to save time, I'll use offset, and I'll make it say 300, just to give my treads. Or risers, same thing. Okay, so then I'll draw another riser up here, maybe, and then again offset. So still 3 to go. I'll just have some at the top and the bottom. There we go, and then just use trim to join them. Okay, so obviously these black lines are crossing over the green lines. And normally that wouldn't work with a lot of the other tools in Revit. But with stairs, that's usually okay. So to finish it off, I'm just going to draw a stair path. You need that as well. So the boundary and the riser usually come first, and then the stair path is the last thing, and it can just go through the centre, like so, and I'll draw a curve to go between those two lines to finish it off. That'll do. So that's going to make my stair. If I finish it now, you can see it's made that stair with my own shape. And that's fine. There we go. Again, it's struggling to make the stringers for me on part of it, but that's normal when you're doing an unusual shape. But I can easily just change that back to one of the simpler housed stairs. And that should be fine. There we go. And that's it. Okay, so it's still not perfect with the landing. It's okay, but again, if you need to, you can always customise that. So maybe let's go into a perspective view, and then you can see. There's something extra there. Do that one. And oh yeah, so I'll change this to a concrete stair because that'll probably make more sense with this sort of stair. Yep, there we are. And that still looks a bit low. Maybe I'm missing something. Oh, I didn't draw enough. Okay, so I need to draw some more stairs there. But with all of these stairs, looking at that in perspective, is there something that you would have thought Revit might have done for you? If you look at where the stairs are going to. Exactly, that's what a lot of people expect. They think, well, Revit does all these other things for you, it should cut a hole in the floor for me as well. You actually wouldn't want it to do that. Because when you're designing buildings or spaces, you want to be able to control that opening. It's actually a really important part of the design, usually. So you don't want it just to be an automatic thing. There are automatic tools in Revit that will give you cutouts. Okay, so later you'll see there's a shaft tool that does make holes for you. Okay, but in most cases, the easiest option is just to cut a hole in your floor yourself. So I've just gone to the section view so you can see the floor that all these stairs connect to. I might just get rid of some of these other stairs. Okay, so this stair that's left, maybe I'll change it back to the other one. Okay, so I want to make a hole in the floor for that stair to go up through. So I've selected the floor in my section. Do you remember what to do to edit the floors that you've made already? If you want to change one? So if you want to edit a floor, what do you do if you've selected in section? Yeah, well you can just double click on it. That works. Or if you click on the edit boundary button, that does the same thing. Yeah, either way. Yeah. So I just want to be trying to get used to those things. So if I click edit boundary here, it's in a section. So we can't edit the floor in a section view because it was drawn in plan. But it gives you a list of the views that you can choose, and I can just choose level 1 there. So I'll start just by drawing a rectangle around the stairs. Let's move that line down a bit. Finish it. In my perspective again, you can see there's a hole. Bring it up so you can see it. So there's a hole in my floor. I'll make a new perspective because that one's a bit ordinary, so let's make a new camera. Okay, so no problem. I can see up through those, through that void up to the other stairs even. I'll get rid of that. Okay, so there's a hole in my stair. Do you think the hole or the void needs to be that big? No, definitely not. So, and again, this is why you wouldn't really want an automatic hole being made for you by Revit. So, I've just moved my section line so that you can see that hole. Okay, so just to give you an idea how the heights can be worked out, and this is basically the same way it would have been done on a drawing board, or drawing by hand. You can simply project. So I'm just going to get my reference planes back. So I'm going to draw a reference plane underneath that floor. And that way I can project, or essentially set that down. Do you know the height that's needed from the stair to the thing above that, the ceiling or the floor that's above your stair? Do you know what the minimum height is? Sorry? Did you say, you're not on the right track, that's the right. Well, it's not even that high. So normally it's 2100 is the absolute minimum ceiling height. 2400, you're right, is for most habitable spaces, but you can go to 2100 for bathrooms and kitchens and things. And that's always good to remember. If you need to go down to 2100, that's sometimes necessary. But there's a special provision for stairs. You can actually go down to 2000. Yeah, just for stairs. And so I'll make this 2000. So that means essentially when I'm on the landing, I'll have at least 2 metres before my head hits the floor. So that means I can go back and edit that in plan and change that hole or the void so that it only finishes at the landing. So that's the way you want to be thinking about your stair design. And Tiny House on Food done a lot of this, trying to get as much room as possible around your stairs. So that's the basic principle. But otherwise, the stair tool, I don't want to say it's straightforward because there's a lot of settings in there. But to get a simple straight stair usually is not that difficult. But the key to it really is understanding your levels and having the levels set up in advance, and then knowing, maybe even before you use the stair tool, have a go at just calculating. So between, say, level 1 and level 2, I'll just subtract the height of level 2, which is 8600, from level 1, which is 4485. So between those levels, it's 4115. Then I'll divide that by 190. And that gives me 21. So how many rises do we need? Minimum? 22. Right, so always round it up. And I never know how far to go with maths these days because I know you don't have to do maths in the last couple of years of high school. Did all of you do maths in school? Yeah. Good. So hopefully this isn't too difficult, but I'm always surprised when people sometimes tell me that they can't do calculations like this. So, so again, hopefully you can all do those things without even touching Revit, and know in advance roughly how many rises you'll need, and again that'll help when you're making your stairs, and also then thinking about landings and things like that. So maybe I'll do some time just to practice with that. It's a good chance to experiment with the stair tool, see roughly how it works, and also maybe just to finish off, have a look at the landing, so the railings that it gives you. So you can see after you make a stair, the railings come up automatically, and you can try changing those in properties, maybe just to start with using the preset ones that you're given. So we've got the glass one there and a few others that are just built in. There are hundreds in the library, but that'll get you started. And as long as you realise the railings are a separate object that's made automatically, even though there's also a railing tool. You can do plain glass, People always ask about that. Everyone wants to do plain glass railings on their stairs nowadays for some reason. So was anyone thinking about that, doing a plain glass balustrade like that? No?
Yeah, we haven't even got to designing anything.
Oh, good, yeah. Well, you will before long. And it's good. I mean, if you want to do railings like that, that's good. But just remember again, the BCA controls now, you have to have a handrail. 2 years ago, you didn't have to. But now, also before 2016, you didn't need a handrail. No, it wasn't required. Have a look at a lot of the old stairs in a lot of great modernist houses. No handrail. It's fine. You've got to be pretty unfit to need a handrail, or have a disability, and that's why they're required. It's not for normal people. It's for people who've got ambulatory issues. Now you've got to have a handrail. Yeah, on one side. Any stair. Yeah, it's required now since 2016. Yeah, everywhere. Yeah, on one side at least. Yeah. You can have it both sides if you want, but minimum one side. Yeah, it's a new requirement since 2016. So that means that some of these really simple balustrades can't be done anymore. And but you can put a handrail on the glass. The glass can actually hold a handrail. It's not great, but it works. And if you want to see some beautiful detailing of glass balustrades, have a look at the Art Gallery in New South Wales. They've got some really nice ones there. Anyway, that's all I'll say for now. It's probably too much. But yeah, just think about those things. I know everyone at some point will ask me about doing plain glass balustrades, and you can obviously do them. I won't point out the problems with them, so that should be enough to get you started. And again, just experiment. The Stair Tool is one you can do lots of things just by playing around with those preset options. So I'll give you some time to try that, unless you've got any questions. And then maybe we'll do a demo on the actual stair you need, because that's a bit more complicated.